Why do you think it is that all these rappers are either big something or little something? Well, it's never in the middle. Like, who's the rapper that's going to speak up for the class? It's like there in the center.
I did used to be called Medium Steve for a while.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the ones that are medium sized just don't declare a size. Like X, like DMX. He's not big DMX.
Yeah.
Nor
he declares that he is in fact a dog, though.
Yeah. Row. Arf, arf. Welcome, horror movie fans, to Dead and Lovely, your favorite horror movie review podcast. And all the known galaxy and beyond. Here with the host of the most. Why, it's me, your good buddy Uncle Ben.
And me, my one Steve Spradley.
Wow, man, that thing had some bravado behind it.
Yeah.
Some regality, the pageantry.
You could hear the echoes because it was coming from the Hollywood Hills. Mm-hmm. And it was echoing throughout the hills all the way here to Tennessee.
Wow, man. Mm-hmm. The thunderous reverberations pounded me to my core. So, Steve, how are you doing on this unseasonably cool middle of June day that feels like it's in goddamn October?
Great, because it feels like it's October.
It's cold out there.
It's a normal average temperature that feels wonderful.
Is it though?
It is. You gotta eat a sandwich.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Build some insulation?
You don't have enough sandwiches in you.
Oh, okay.
One sandwich will warm you for an hour, but teach a man to sandwich, and he's never cold.
Right.
You know that saying.
I think I only sandwich maybe once a month max. I'm very under-sandwiched. Steve, I'd like to drink to that.
Me too.
Let's get ourselves a pull of a cold beer.
I'm excited about this.
This is from Pretentious, which is a beloved Knoxville, Tennessee brewery. This is their Choice Hops, which is a 5.7%er here. It's apparently on the lighter side of their IPA range.
Yeah, 5% for an IPA. That's pretty low, but still.
It's got a nice golden kind of color here. A little bit of suds on top of this thing.
The smell is good, but it's not like IPA, like strong smell.
Yeah, well, especially from Pretentious, a lot of their stuff is extremely like kick you in the face.
Yeah, this is way different than anything I've had there, I would say.
Yeah, and also a bit milder on the percentage wise from a lot of their stuff. Let's get ourselves a tug of this thing here and see what it does for us there. I do enjoy myself a quality Pretentious beer.
Oh, wow.
How's that treat you?
Despite the fact that you couldn't smell the pine hop, the taste is there.
Oh, yeah. It's not terribly sweet. It's quite dry.
Very dry.
It has a little bit of that brute thing going on, but it's not that, but it has a hint of it. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that.
I'm digging it.
I really hope that one day Pretentious gets like big enough that they can distribute massively.
Well,
so
they are starting to sell some cans and stuff at the store. Yeah,
right.
to get them out to everybody. I'd love for most of our listeners that may never get to try Pretentious to actually get it near them.
Right.
Yeah.
Elsewise, they just got to come to Knoxville, hang out with us, and drink a cold one.
That'd be a damn shame, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? That'd just be terrible. How you been this week, Steve?
I've been good.
Yeah. What's been up?
My wife and I switched offices.
Look out.
Which is not seemingly a big deal, but it actually is, because the office I've moved into is way better for recording.
Way more suited for a man. It's a bigger office.
I think it is a little bit smaller maybe, but it's...
Right, okay.
Yeah. But it has carpet, which is something I absolutely hate, but when you're talking about recording...
Makes it
carpet
better.
can definitely help. Also, my wife just got a laptop, so I'm using our old monitor now as a dual monitor setup.
Look out, one for each eyeball.
One for each eyeball. Well, one of them is a 720p monitor, so like I don't put video or anything on it, but it's perfect for playing an emulator because you don't want it to be high def.
Feels just like the old days.
Exactly.
Huh?
You want it to look like Super Nintendo. I've been playing NBA Live 96.
Oh shit, dude!
Yeah.
Some real old school stuff.
Yeah, I just keep it up whenever I got like a couple minutes, or just need to kill like 10-20 minutes. I'll play a game.
Are you running just like emulators on your computer, or do you have like a Raspberry Pi kind of thing?
Oh no, I
want one of those, dude.
Yeah, that's a good setup.
Oh man, I
Hook
really
it
want
up to
one
your
of those.
TV.
Yeah. What are the games you've been playing?
No, I've just been playing NBA 1196. I tried recently to play Mega Man X,
which is the shit.
Such
That's what
a
I was
great
about to
game.
ask you if you were playing.
I fucking love that game, and used to destroy that game.
Same.
I remember like getting all the pieces of armor and being able to do the Ryu
The Hadoken,
fireball and everything. Yeah, started playing it. And I can't play platformers anymore. I'm not good at them.
Really? You've kind of lost it, huh?
Yeah, because like I mostly play RPGs or sports games on newer generation consoles. And they're so much more forgiving.
It's not that like fast twitch, mega ultra laser like reaction speed thing.
For well over a decade, I've been like, because I stopped playing first person shooters about 10 years ago, where I just couldn't do it anymore. Not I loved it. I loved fucking no scoping people with sniper rifles and going insane and just absolutely dominating a game like that. That was so much fun. But it's also it brings out I'm competitive in a way that I try to hide.
Okay.
But I can't when I play first person shooters, and
it comes out. The beast is loose.
Yeah, and I felt bad. I just felt bad about myself playing it all the time. So I stopped playing that sort of stuff. And now when I go to do anything in a video game that requires like timing and speed, it's like I suck.
Damn.
Like I can't in Super Punch Out. I can get past Mr. Sandman, so that's the major circuit. I can get past the minor and the major circuit, but then I get destroyed by Aaron Ryan. And like I remember beating Aaron Ryan in like 30 seconds back when I was a kid, but now it's just destroyed constantly.
That's one of those games that I was hardcore obsessed with when I was a kid. And like I had all the shit memorized where it's like everybody was beaten in like 13 seconds, you know, like you could beat that first guy in like 11 seconds.
Oh yeah, you can.
Like
you can destroy Gabby J.
Yeah, dude. There's so many good games back then.
Super Nintendo was amazing, and Sega. Super Nintendo and Sega, because like Sega had the fighting games. Super Nintendo, of course, they went bloodless on their fighting games.
Yeah, right.
And also I feel like their frame rate was slower on like Street Fighter and stuff. Like if you played it on Genesis, it seemed to flow better.
Okay. I always liked using the Super controller a lot better than the Genesis controller, though.
Yeah. Because I like the bumpers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's way better than three
in a row kind of thing. I never really got used to that.
Yeah. I just was watching a video earlier today, and it included, they were talking about Shining Force.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever play that?
I know of it, but I never played it.
Shining Force was so good. The best, I think maybe the best game on Sega Genesis, but I'm not positive.
Wow, man.
Somebody might disagree.
You know, the thing is like, it's easy for us, you know, fucking farts in our mid-30s to talk about how great the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and like even PS1 eras were and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, that's when there was really no like quality control for games.
Oh yeah, there were so many shitty games.
Dude, there would be all these games released that had extremely buggy controls and horrible hit detection that were basically unplayable and unbeatable, you know?
NBA Live 96, a game I've been playing for the past week or so, sucks. It's a bad game, but I loved it as a kid. And so like I keep playing it, but like there's no defense. Your team won't get any rebounds because you're basically in control of them, and it's impossible to control 5 guys all at once. And then the other team gets all the rebounds because it's the computer controlling them. It's the worst.
Right.
But it's just nostalgia.
Well, in between playing them video games, you told me that you watched something that I watched last week, which is the Bash Bros Experience.
We need to talk about
by
this.
The Lonely Island on Netflix.
The unauthorized Bash Brothers experience is sublime. Is the only way to say it.
So it got real good to you.
Yeah.
See, to me, it's like me knowing nothing about pro sports or anything like that. I was like, this is just weird and pointless and strange. And I was like, I know of these characters from probably playing sports video games.
Right, Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire.
Yeah, and like having friends that were really into sports, but it's like me not knowing anything about their whole situation or whatever. I didn't really understand a lot of it, but I appreciated how silly and stupid it was. But it really worked for you, huh?
Yeah, I think I'm a year younger maybe than those guys, but we're about the same age.
As the Lonely Island guys.
Yeah, the Lonely Island guys. Not Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. I am not that old. But like, I was also super into sports. They were huge into sports. I remember watching, because like my mom's boyfriend in the late 80s was from Oakland.
Okay.
So I remember watching a ton of Oakland Athletics games and stuff. Like, and me and my cousin Buddy, who played baseball together, we would do the forearm smash instead of high-fiving.
So that was not something they made up. That's something that they used to do in real life.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And it's also something that like tons of kids emulated. Like it wasn't just me and my cousin Buddy. Like we weren't the only ones. Like tons of kids emulated that playing baseball.
It was like dabbing back then.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, except less cringy.
Right.
A little less. Not much though. But yeah, like I don't know. That whole experience really just captured for me a lot of the way I thought. And like I read an interview with them after that because watching it I was just like, this is just nailed it. And I read an interview with them, and what they said was they tried to remember what they thought Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco's lives were like when they were kids.
Okay, nice. That makes sense then.
Yeah, so they were trying to portray them the way they imagined their lives would be when they were like 8 years old. So that's why they have all the weird like Steven Seagal interior decorating and like they're just like lifting women and stuff.
That scene was awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love it. It really hit me just perfectly.
I can't wait for them to do another record. The Lonely Island albums are just
they released the Unauthorized Bash Brothers Experience as an album. It's on, I think, SoundCloud. You can just listen to it for free. Yeah, full album.
Nice.
But yeah, those guys, super funny. After watching that, my wife and I had to rewatch 7 Days in Hell and then Tour de Pharmacy, which are the other two sports, like 30-40 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a sports trilogy of sorts.
Yeah, I just from reading the interview with them, they started doing this just as a joke. Like they were just talking, and they were talking about the Bash Brothers, Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire, and they were like, what would it be like if they were rappers?
Okay.
And so they basically came up with that first song, which is Jose Canseco being over the top and Mark McGuire being boring. And they came up with that. And then like every once in a while they'd get together. And when they'd get together, they'd be like, you want to write some more of that Bash Brothers stuff? So
this sounds like some shit that we would do.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Only it would be about like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's exactly that. They were just doing it to fuck around. They had no intention of it ever being anything. It was just them hanging out and being friends. And then Akiva Schaffer, who was working on... it's Akiva Schaffer, I think.
Okay.
He's working on a Netflix show, and he just started talking about the Bash Brothers things with the executive producer of the show. And he was like, you want to make it for Netflix?
And they bit.
And they did. They're like,
What the hell?
Okay. So they just took this ridiculous, super inside joke, and Netflix bought it and turned it into a 30-minute Lemonade-style music experience.
That's ridiculous.
It's so awesome.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because I was watching it and I was like, you know what? I like this, but I'm sure that people that
if you
remember...
know,
being around while they were the Bash Brothers and they were huge and stuff.
Yeah,
I bet
like,
they'd love it.
The Walt Weiss joke in it was so specific.
I have no idea who that is. No clue.
He was the shortstop. He was a very skinny sort of guy. And Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire were gigantic.
Yeah. They were on the roids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and they joke about that a lot. Also, apparently, Jose Canseco tweeted at them, and he liked it. And he wants to do something with him. So
holy shit.
That's really cool.
That's so rad, man. They're the best. I love the Lonely Island so much, man.
Great.
We both together watched something this week that I want to talk about and give a little mini review ski for here, because there's
spoiler warning,
all of this hype and stuff flying around about the new Netflix original movie, The Perfection. It is an original horror movie that Netflix has put out, and it gave me shades of that Veronica hype. Listen to our Veronica episode if you want to learn more about that, where it's like, people aren't finishing it, they're throwing up.
People are throwing
so
up is what they were saying.
Blah, 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 blah. And I knew right away, of course, that it was not going to make me throw up, and I was not going to be unable to finish it. I mean, they're not going to put something like that on Netflix, for crying out loud. That's just viral marketing shit. But I did want to watch it because I know it's kind of a hot, relevant topic.
Yeah.
Kate and I watched it the other night. I told you, it's like, yeah, you should check this out so we can talk about it on the show. So Before we get into our Child's Play stuff here, we're going to break down just a little mini spoilery review of The Perfection. And I'll say, let's do it this way.
Okay.
Before we get into the stuff that's going to be really spoiler heavy, would you recommend that people should watch it, yes or no?
Yeah, soft yes.
Same. I'm going to say the
yes.
same. Yeah, because it's an hour and a half. If you already have Netflix, you're not going to be spending money on it.
Yeah.
And once again, I go back to the stuff that we said about The Ritual and all these other flicks. We need to show Netflix that if they put out original horror content, people will watch it. So please keep putting out more. Is it the best thing I've ever seen? No. Does it live up to the hype? No, not at all. Is it serviceable and decent? Yeah. Has some memorable scenes? Yeah.
There's some stuff to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into the spoilers, though. I got a lot to say.
Yeah, and if you want to skip ahead here and dodge the spoilerific stuff, we'll put a timestamp in the episode description.
Yeah.
So just be sure to click on that on whatever podcast app you're using, and it'll tell you where the spoilers lie for our review of The Perfection. So here beyond lies spoilers. Beware, beware.
Here's what I would say about The Perfection.
Tell me what you think about it.
It was 25 minutes of a good movie.
Okay, yeah.
And the hour and something that followed would have all possibly been a good movie, but it was all ruined for me by the Ocean's 11 style rewind sequences.
The literal rewinds.
In fact, it depended so much on being able to rewind and show you what happened from a different perspective that at one point there's a flashback during a rewind.
That's a little bit excessive.
That's a
little bit excessive.
Very much excessive. Now, Allison Williams is great in it. I don't remember the other actress's name, but also great in it. I think all the acting in it is real good.
Some of the dialogue is dicey.
That's true.
There's some crap dialogue in there, but the fact is that they had such great actors and actresses that they sold it decently convincingly.
Yeah.
Under less able hands, it would have turned out really bad.
Sure,
it would have turned out really, really bad.
Because the production value is high.
The production is great. It is a gorgeous movie. It really, really is. Like, I just constantly kept kind of pausing the movie and being like, man, this looks great.
It does.
This isn't a big budget Hollywood movie or anything like that. This is a straight to streaming production, and it looks killer. Gorgeous movie.
The tension that starts the morning after Allison Williams and I can't remember the character's name.
What's her name?
Yeah, the moment after these two cellists have their romp, and then we start to see this sickness coming out, and it seems at first like a hangover, but then it's like it gets more and more intense. Mm-hmm. The tension that raises, and
it's nice,
it's like nice and sort of develops over 10 to 15 minutes. Is real good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is very well done, and it gets into some
I was thinking this is this is gonna be great.
Yeah,
we're only 20-something minutes into this, and it's awesome.
Right, but then what you kind of realize is that all that great stuff that you're talking about lasts about 35 minutes.
Yeah,
and that's everything that you see in the trailer.
Yeah,
everything in the trailer leads you to believe. Yeah,
no
it's
reason to
one
watch the trailer because it spoils the entire first 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but then after you get out of that first 30 35 minutes worth of movie, then you're like, okay, what movie am I in now? Because it completely puts you in different turf, because this movie hinges on having a million twists in it.
Yeah, and it would have been better if it was written straightforward.
I think so,
because I know this happens with everybody who sits down to write. They're like, I'm going to change the entire form of screenwriting.
And that can be cool if you do Dusk Till Dawn.
Sure, or maybe you pull out a nice Pulp Fiction style thing where a bunch of different stories are coming together in different times. Like, that's all kind of interesting.
Saying, if you're Tarantino, you can do this.
I guess if you're Tarantino, you can do this. But if you're doing it, basically you're doing it so that you can keep raising tension, but it's artificial tension that relies on the fact that we don't know the thing that you refuse to tell us.
Exactly. And that is my biggest problem with the movie. Yeah. And it ties into all the twists and the rewinds and stuff like this. It doesn't all hinge on careful, deceptive, ambiguous storytelling, it relies on unreliable narrative.
Yeah.
That thing where you're like, I can't trust what the cameraman is showing me right now.
Right.
They're framing it in a way that makes it look one way, and then it's not.
Yeah. I wrote this to you.
Yeah, this is the best text. This sums up the movie extremely well, because I watched it and I was... Honestly, I had zero expectations for this movie. My expectations were at like Veronica level, where I'm like, okay, this is going to be garbage again.
Yeah.
So I watched it and I was like, okay, it was better than I expected. So I texted you and I was like, yeah, you got to watch this right now. And then you kind of came back with a perfect response of what it's like.
So this was my text to you. To me, it was like someone who can't tell a story. Let me tell you this story about these beautiful cellists that fall in love. But it's actually because one of them is jealous of the other and wants to take everything away from her. But it's actually because she wants to save the other girl from a rapist.
Yeah.
But the other girl doesn't know, and she takes her to be raped by the rapist. But really, she does know, and they get their revenge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's a story if I've ever heard one.
Right, but the story could be... two beautiful cellists fall in love. One manipulates the other because she knows that she's in this terrible, abusive territory and wants to get her out of it. And then they work together to kill the person who tormented them.
That would have been fine.
That's a fine, straightforward story.
Yeah,
that doesn't need
enough.
That doesn't need these constant rewinds to be like, here's the thing we didn't tell you yet.
Right. That funny games thing where it's just like, hey, did you notice you're in a movie? Because you're in a movie.
You're in a total movie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though, is that first 25, 30 minutes sets up such great tension.
Yeah. It was very original, too.
The moment that it rewinds, it's like, what fuck, man? I was into the movie you were showing me.
Yeah, that was exactly my reaction, too. It's like when it got to that first part where it rewinds, I was like, okay, never mind. It's one of these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, because from then on, after you have the rewind, you're like, okay, I can't trust anything this is showing me.
Right.
Because at that point, you know, again, unreliable narrative. The stuff they're showing me isn't really what's going on. So it never really draws you in the same way it does before the first rewind.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think because of all that, it fails to live up to what it could have been.
Yeah, I think so too.
And just presenting it straightforward, it would eliminate some of the tension, but not eliminate all of it. Like, and also you don't need, like, I don't like the double agent thing at the end where like it really is Ocean's 11. This is like, it's just so much of like we have to want particular things to happen and then see them happen and then be shown how they happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's a nice fun thing for a heist movie. But for a movie that's about a music conservatory where they rape the young girls who want to be cellists, it feels almost inappropriate to get cutesy in your storytelling there.
Yeah. In reality, too, this movie genre hopped into trying to kind of be every horror
I wanted to just do it all.
Yeah. Because like the first maybe 20 minutes of the movie, you're like, okay, it's a creepy stalker movie, like Creep or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then it gets into this Cronenbergian body horror. Oh my God, there's bugs under my skin.
Yeah, which was, like, the visuals were great.
Extremely effective.
The worm-looking things in her vomit. Like,
so
that
gross.
was cool, yeah.
So gross, man. And dude, later on in the movie, like whenever, what's her name, my main character chick? That was in...
Allison Williams,
Allison Williams, thank you. Whenever she gets like her arm, like, cut open.
Wow, that looked great.
Shit, that was some brutal ass gore.
Uh-huh.
There's some great looking gore scenes and stuff in this. But anyway, it's like you get into this like body horror thing, and then you find out that it's a revenge movie.
Right.
And then you find out it's a rape revenge movie.
Right.
And then the very end of the movie, whenever they hobble their rapist. Their former rapist. And like, so his eyes shut and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then it's the two of them who are both armless but playing the cello together.
Yeah.
That to me was like Takashi Miike as fuck.
Yeah.
That was J-horror as fuck.
Yeah.
Only, as Kate said, if it was a Takashi movie, the movie would have started with that.
Yeah, that's how it would have begun and gone crazy.
And gone crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So it just really felt to me like it was trying to be all these different genres, and it kind of made it sort of nothing.
Yeah, they should have concentrated, really gone.
Committed to one thing.
Rape
right?
Revenge is not interesting to me, and I don't feel like it needs to be done much.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it, stick to it. I don't think in the end that it gives us enough catharsis for all of the buildup. I feel like everybody should have gotten tortured, basically. Like, instead of it just being like 3 drop dead and then this other one basically gets the advantage of them for a bit and then gets taken out. Like, there wasn't enough oomph to the revenge for it to go with the rape revenge genre in today's day and age. Especially because they seriously seem to be trying to do a Weinstein type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Be more assertive about it. Be more like,
own it.
This is what we're doing. We're not doing a bunch of rewind bullshit. We're going to do like straightforward. This is what can happen in the arts and entertainment industry. You can be taken advantage of by someone who's looked at
and convince yourself that it's okay and that they're doing you a favor and so on. Yeah.
And eventually be driven insane by it.
I will say it held my attention.
Oh, yeah. I watched the whole movie without paying any attention to my phone. Yeah.
I never got bored. Yeah. I never started checking Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was zoned in.
Yeah.
And in a way, even the genre hopping and the rewinds and stuff kept me watching to be like, okay, what's going to happen next? Even if it did lose, like we said, some of that tension and stuff that you had during the first part of the movie. The first part of the movie is definitely the best.
Yeah. It could have been a really great short or an episode of Black Mirror.
It could have just
maybe.
been a Black Mirror episode. Yeah. That at the end of the movie, that was what I was kind of left with. I was like, that was like a really long episode of Black Mirror.
Uh-huh.
You know, it could have been cut down and just turned into an episode, and I would have been pretty okay with that.
I'd be okay with that.
Worth a watch. Again, not at all living up to the hype, not genre defying or anything like that, but I would still watch it. You know, I'd recommend checking it out.
Yeah, watch it. If you agree with us that it's bad, fine. If you love it, great. I hope you do.
Yeah, I hope you do.
It's always nice to find a movie you love.
So. Yeah, seems like a lot of like hardcore horror fans have not liked it.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't
they're
think
a picky
it
bunch.
fits horror. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I get the body horror part and the rape revenge part, but that's not how the whole movie plays out. It's more of a thriller, but also more of, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
it's hard to define.
It's a movie.
Oh, motion picture. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Of all the movies I've seen,
it's one.
It is one of them.
That's
for
true.
Sure. For sure, man. You know, Steve, the subject of our show today is When Child's Play 2 from...
Numero dos.
What is that, a 1990 or something like that? 1990 is when this came out. And, of course, this focuses on our beloved good guy doll...
Charles Lee Ray,
also
Chuckles.
known as a Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
And going into this episode, I was thinking of things that we could do for the Preview Palace.
Welcome to the Preview Palace
segment of the show where, you know, we like to tie in a little theme and do a list or quiz or something like that related to the movie that we're talking about on the show. And I was really kind of wanting to talk about like our most disappointing toys when we had as a kid.
Yeah.
But the thing is like both of us, I think we're the same way where we grew up too broke to have ill-informed,
right,
you know, gift wish, Christmas list or birthday list wishes for stuff. It's like I never really had that many bad toys because we
didn't have
broke.
that many toys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I always kind of knew it's like, okay, this is a surefire good thing I can get for my birthday or whatever. So I didn't really have a ton of bad toys as a kid. You had the Power Glove.
That's my worst toy I ever got, and we returned it, and I got 2 video games for the price of it. So
Much better.
It's fine.
So as we step on into the Preview Palace here, before we get into the movie, Steve, I would really just like to take a second here and try to figure out, maybe with the help of a wizard from BuzzFeed, maybe a Nina Mohan.
Nina Mohan knows what's up.
To tell us which 90s toy am I?
I would like to know that.
I'm kind of curious about it here, Steve. Now, Steve, I need you to choose a 90s fashion trend. They look like they got some winners right here.
Yeah.
A lot of them seem to be a little bit more female aimed, but we can work with it. They got a jelly sandal.
Yeah.
Mood ring.
Oh, man.
That's old classic.
Straight out of the 90s through the 70s.
We've got some little butterfly hair clips.
Yeah, I remember those.
Classic movie. We got a flannel, a goth girl.
Some chunky boots.
Chunky
with
boots.
heels, yeah.
And it looks like some sort of a velvet blouse. Where do you fall in the spectrum here, Steve?
I remember those dresses that had... I don't know what that material is, but I remember those. You know what? I like a big chunky boot with heels on a lady, so I'll pick that.
That's a good choice right there. I myself am a real life flannel man.
Yeah?
I'm a flannel man. Hashtag follow that flannel. I've been abusing that one here for a while. So, yeah, I'm a flannel boy. What do we got here next year,
Ben,
Steve?
how do you avoid conflict?
What am I going to do?
I don't. I bring the issues to light.
Bring them up.
I use my puppy dog eyes.
Oh, looking all sweet.
I hide behind my friends.
I'm scared.
I bake cookies.
Here you go.
I like conflict.
Get in me.
I basically poop in fear.
Oh, my. That is quite a reaction
Fear
right there.
poop.
You know, I have been told from some people that I can be a little bit aggressive about bringing stuff to light, about just dropping it out and be like, yo, what's the deal?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Uh-huh.
I bring the issues to light.
That is the exact answer I would pick, but I'll pick I like conflict.
Get in there.
I don't like conflict, but I don't mind doing it if
Right.
it needs to be done. So.
Yeah. Taking care of business. TCB.
TCB.
Pick a 90s after school snack. Now, Steve, I didn't have an after school. I was at home.
You had a during school
I had
snack.
myself a during school
You just
snack.
walk into your kitchen where you already were.
Yeah. We've got ourselves it looks like a Ritz dipping kind of scenario. I remember seeing these with like the little red stick that you would dip inside of some sort of a cheese
and that
product.
cheese is
I think impervious to bullets and nuclear radiation. Pretty sure.
Yeah. It tastes mostly just like salt.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever had these. I thought they looked gross. I remember seeing other kids have them and thought, I do not want to have that.
Yeah, handy snacks. I remember having them pretty regularly, but I always preferred the ones with peanut butter in them.
I'm shocked that there's not a Lunchable on here. I thought that a Lunchable was kind of like the thing that
Well, they
kids
do have it. They have it up in the
like in the
graphic
picture. Yeah.
area, but it's not a choice.
What's the second one
It's
here?
a whistle pop.
Oh, yes. I do remember those. I got those from a gas station.
Yeah.
A time or two. They never really worked.
Yeah, and what asshole was like, fuck parents. We're going to create a thing that both is sticky and loud.
And when your kid blows on it, it blows their sticky spit all over the living room.
Sticky spit all over the place, plus the sound of a whistle.
That is a good point. Yeah, because like adults made this.
Yeah.
They clearly just wanted to torment other adults.
Yeah.
We got ourselves a Dunkaroo.
Yep, Dunkaroos.
I don't remember ever having those
you
either.
Dunkaroo.
I don't think I ever had those.
I had them once.
You know what would make a cookie better if it came with icing?
I mean, I don't disagree.
Isn't that what you do with those? They came with like
Yeah,
an icing
it's
thing?
basically animal crackers and ice,
more
yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
Wow, man. It's no wonder they really thought that like all of us had the ADD. Like we're the ADD generation.
Yeah, they were filling us with sugar and telling us fat was the problem.
That might have something to do with it. It looks like we got ourselves a Wonder Ball here, which was a chocolate sphere, which had a little toy inside that you could eat and choke on. How fun.
Yummo.
What a good time. What about a gusher? What do you know about a gush?
I bust in dudes' mouths like gushers, motherfucker.
Oh, your Portman.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the Lonely
Portman,
Island again right
motherfucker.
here.
Drink till I'm sick.
I used to have gushers
True
at other
gushers.
people's houses because they were kind of expensive.
I only had them maybe once or twice. They were gross. I did not like the feeling of biting it.
Right?
Like, I want my gummies to be kind of a little chewy,
Chomp
but
on this
then
thing.
gone.
Yeah.
Gushers is like, no, we're gonna coat your mouth with cough syrup or whatever
Yeah,
was
it
inside.
was very like cough syrupy feeling. Like, do you remember that? There was a chewing gum in like the early 2000s that had like a gel center in it.
Yes.
That was kind of like a gusher gum, and it was
They had
terrible.
that in the 80s too, and it was they keep trying it, and it's always gross.
Yeah, get out of me. Now we've also got ourselves a Rice Krispies Treats cereal. It looks like, which I never liked. Again, another thing I imagined being excited about. I got a box like one time when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, this
This is gonna taste like Rice Krispie treats and cereal.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you this, dude. The two things that you can buy in store-bought form that homemade absolutely annihilates effortlessly. One is Rice Krispie treats. Whenever you buy those store-bought ones, they don't even taste a fraction as good as when you make them at home with just fucking Rice Krispies, marshmallows, and butter.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be something you'd store buy.
Yeah, exactly. I've also added vanilla and bourbon to mine.
Vanilla and bourbon.
Effect. Oh my Lord of mercy. It's a good thing to do. I'll tell you that. Other thing, Chex Mix.
Yeah?
Store-bought Chex Mix is some bullshit.
Chex Mix, #1 food snack in the land. I'm just going to keep referencing Lonely Island if you keep pulling up
with your
stuff.
hand. I'm just setting them up and you spiking them over here, man. All right, which snack you going to choose of these here, Steve?
Oh, man. These are all
pretty
gross.
bad. Yeah.
I don't want them. Dunkaroos, I guess?
You're going to dunk on me.
Yeah.
You just got dunked on.
You just got dunkarooed.
Oh, man. I guess of these choices here, I'm going to have to go with this. I'm going to go with this Whistle Sucker. I'll enjoy myself as a fruity sucker scenario. Why not go with that?
Ben, what's your biggest character flaw?
Oh, no. We're getting personal now.
Oh, no. This isn't part of the quiz. I'm just asking.
Oh, okay. Just in general. Right. Penis too normal.
Too normal.
Yeah,
penis.
too average.
Look at that. Neither to the right nor the left. Just
down the
normaling. I'm greedy. I'm a pushover.
Look out.
I'm bossy.
Hey, you. Do that.
I'm awkward. I'm naive.
Really?
I'm a know-it-all.
I think of these qualities here, my biggest character flaw, I am bossy, but I don't see that as a flaw.
Somebody's got to be, right?
Yeah. I'm going to go with I'm greedy.
All right.
I am. I'm constantly seeking more.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. Maybe it's just
I want it all.
My addictive personality or whatever.
I want it all.
I want it all. But I'm constantly looking for more of it, you know?
Yeah.
More money, more problems. So it's said.
Is that because you're greedy for problems as well?
Yeah, I want more.
Because in real life, more money equals far fewer problems.
Yeah, it really does. That's the thing. It's like far less financial burden and worry.
Like, people don't realize that, like, Biggie, when he says more money, more problems, he used to sell crack.
Yes.
And having more money as a drug dealer is more problematic. Right. Biggie was not claiming to the world that being rich is somehow hard.
Right. Yeah. It was a situational kind of thing. You kind of had to be there.
And having said all that, I'm a know-it-all.
Okay. But you know some stuff. I've known this about you,
I do know a few
Steve.
things, yeah. I've always just embraced that. If somebody's like, you act like a know-it-all or whatever, it's like, yeah, fine. I'm presenting to you the information that's in my head. If you dislike the fact that there's information in my head, whatever.
Google me, bitch.
Bitch.
I know a little about a lot. That's a fact, Jack. All right, Steve, I need you to pick a classic 90s cartoon child. Looks like we got ourselves a Patty Mayonnaise from a Doug.
Love Patty Mayonnaise.
I enjoyed Doug.
Yeah.
I thought that was a fun show. We got ourselves a Wacko from a Animaniacs, which I also completely adored.
Yes, great show.
What a fucking great show. It looks like is that a Pepper Ann?
Yeah.
Bart Simpson.
Uh-huh.
A Powerpuff Girl.
Yeah.
And a Dexter from a Dexter's Laboratory.
I mean, it's not just any Powerpuff Girl, but fine.
Which one is it?
Bubbles.
That's a Bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I am not that hip to a Powerpuff Girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was a good show. I liked it.
Who's your dude here?
That was a tough one.
Who do you relate to the most?
The one I relate to the most is probably Wacko.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, man, that's a tough one. Because, like, Bart Simpson was someone I also related to growing up. I was never a hellion like him, but
He's sassy.
Bart Simpson was somebody I associated with as a kid because we were the same age, kind of, for a little bit.
Right. I think I'm going to go with a Wacko here. He was an entertainer.
He was
an entertaining kind of guy. I like to entertain. I like to perform.
Yeah.
I'm a real silly heart, as we know.
Hey, we get it.
I'm going to go with him.
Ben, which 90s slang best describes you?
Eat my shorts.
Not a choice.
Not a choice.
What a
Okay.
stranger.
All right.
Off the hook.
I've never been hooked before.
Chill pill.
Laid back.
Getting jiggy with it.
No.
Yada, yada, yada.
All right. A little Seinfeld action there.
As if
Clueless. Very good.
All that and a bag of chips.
All that and a bag of chips. You know what? I think I'm just going to go with the old chill pill right there. I'm a pretty laid back kind of guy.
Yeah.
I've been told I got that laid back California attitude.
You've been taking them chill pills.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm constantly staying low on them chill pills.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
I would say yada yada yada.
You're a yada yada
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of guy?
a yada yada kind of guy. Yeah. I like to skip
Yada,
straight
yada,
to the
yada.
end. Yeah.
Which is why our podcast is so succinct and focused.
People always say that about our show. They say,
Yeah.
2 hours flew by like 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are so succinct.
People say in our iTunes reviews, which you guys should leave us and rate and review,
Yeah.
they stay on topic always.
Never a tangent.
That's what I like about the show. It's just about horror movies, they say.
That's what they say.
Only horror movies. All right, what do we got next?
Pick a 90s toy movie.
Oh, boy.
Wow, there's 6 of these. I never think about the fact that the 90s had a lot of toy movies.
I guess so.
And one that I thought of immediately, Toy Soldiers, not on here. Anyway, Toy Story.
All right.
Demonic Toys.
I don't know that
I
one.
don't know that one. Babes in Toyland.
Pile of shit.
Jingle All the Way.
10.
Classic. The Indian in the Cupboard. And of course, Robin Williams in Toys.
Boy, talk about a movie that I thought would be a lot more fun than it was.
It's not fun at all.
No.
No.
No, not a fun movie. Jingle All the Way, motherfucker.
You love that one, huh?
I love Jingle All the Way. I want the Turbo Man doll.
I want Jamie.
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 It's like a CH at the front.
Jamie.
Jamie. Sinbad in there as a postal worker that
I
has
love
a
Sinbad.
bomb.
He has a bomb.
He has a bomb
at
in there,
one
dude.
point. Yeah, he does. That's probably wouldn't fly.
Kind of problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit problematic overall, but a beloved holiday classic.
For me, the original Toy Story I read as a book. The Indian in the Cupboard.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the OG Toy Story. Your toys coming to life. Like when Toy Story came around, I was a teen, so I don't think I watched it until years later, because it was like, I'm a teenager. I don't care about cartoons except all the other cartoons I watch.
Yeah.
But Indian in the Cupboard, I read that book in 3rd or 4th grade.
Okay.
And I remember seeing the movie and not being impressed by it. That was my first experience of having read the book and then watching the movie.
So you were like 10 and you're like, the book was really quite superior.
Much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the Indian in the Cupboard and thinking it was all right.
Yeah, it's not great. The movie, that is.
Yeah. All right, Steve, I need you to pick a 90s pop star.
Okay.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. This is our last question, I believe. Looks like we got ourselves a Britney Spears.
Brit.
I was never into Britney Spears, by the way. Everybody like in our age group thought that she was just totally smoking.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
really
No,
thought that.
I never found her super attractive, but I like me some Britney Spears music.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You gotta get toxic over here.
Exactly.
Who's that second one? Is that a Mandy Moore?
It's Mandy Moore, yep.
And then we've got
Brandy.
Brandy, that's right.
Yeah.
We got a Janet Jackson.
All right.
Ex Tina.
Tina.
Aguilera.
You're here.
Nothing to fear. We got a Celine Dion from
Dion.
Canada.
Yeah. This one,
Kind of hard because most of these
in
are
the
pretty
90s,
bad.
I would have picked Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
But now as an adult and after seeing, which one is that? I still know what you did last summer.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Brandy.
Immortal classic.
Oh,
Gonna go with a Brandy
she
there,
was
huh?
dope back in the day.
I'm
Still
gonna
is,
I'm
probably.
gonna go with a Janet Jackson right here. Because there's a lot of those 90s Janet Jackson tunes that
Yeah. They're great.
I'm very okay
Oh
with.
yeah, I didn't pick Brandy for The Boy Is Mine. I can't remember of any of her other songs. I picked her because she was gorgeous.
Steve, what toy from the 90s are you?
I got Furby.
You're a Ferb, huh?
Yeah, though you're clever and kind, you're misunderstood. I don't think so. For some reason, people are creeped out by you. Not generally. Despite your adorable big eyes. All right.
4 eyes. Nerd.
Oh, wow. And your genius ability to learn languages.
Okay,
Well,
you
that's
do
very
speak
specific.
Russian. That's pretty
true.
pretty accurate,
That's very
actually.
specific.
Yeah.
Just keep repeating, me love you, and they'll come around. All right. What about you, Ben?
I'm apparently a Tamagotchi.
Okay.
You're curious, innocent, and never afraid to ask for help. You're the best friend of aspiring pet owners and parents. You always seize the day. Don't be shy. Spread your beautiful angel wings.
Aww.
I don't know if I agree with that exactly.
Also, like, if they're saying you're a Tamagotchi, they're saying you're needy.
I think
those
so,
things
right?
were the worst. They were always like, feed me, etc.
It seemed like a pain in the ass. That was, again, one of those toys that kind of came around right when it was kind of at the age of like, okay, I'm starting to play guitar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And play with serious things like video games. But I just remember being like, excuse me, you want chores?
Yeah.
Like, that's your idea of fun? Chore simulator?
But that was the, because, like, to be fair, that is most mobile games that people play. It is technically a chore. It is a thing that you have to be reminded of every few hours to go back to farm something or whatever. Like, so the Tamagotchi was the beginning of making people feel responsible for an entertainment product so that you get more money.
Well, I mean, Jesus, that's like the history of baby dolls for girls,
Exactly.
right?
The Cabbage Patch doll, which was huge when I was a kid.
And also a big influence on Chucky.
Yeah, huge influence on Chucky.
We're on topic, y'all.
Yeah. That was one of those things that I remember as a kid because my sister had one of those dolls that peed.
Yeah.
And like that, I remember that was my first revelation of like, wait, why would you want that toy?
I don't know. I was always super confused about that. And the thing about it is, too, is because it's an inanimate object, you have to be the one to put water in its mouth.
Yeah, you got to do all
to
the
make
work.
it pee. Like, you make chores for yourself?
Yeah.
What?
It's crazy, though. Like, it relies on the principle of if you have 2 cups in your hand and you walk up to somebody and say, here, hold this, they will.
True. Yeah.
And they feel like they've done you a service. So they feel better about themselves for having done nothing, essentially, and that's what those games do. That's what the Tamagotchi did.
Have you ever noticed how we're sitting here having this conversation and neither of us have chosen to have kids yet? Because it's kind of like that.
Yeah, maybe we want to avoid responsibility and other people kind of like it a little bit.
Maybe it could be.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have had Tamagotchis when we were kids.
I did have one at one point with a girlfriend. Like,
you guys had a joint Tamagotchi?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was too much, man.
That is high pressure. That's high stakes for
we didn't
couple of
stay
kids.
together, so obviously the kid got in between.
Well, who got possession of the Tamagotchi in the end, though?
I think she did.
Did you get holidays and weekends?
Yeah, but I never took that advantage. I was always like, you know what? I don't want to uproot the Tamagotchi during a holiday. Like,
right. This is better with you. Yeah, this is for you. Wow, man, hard times at the Tamagotchi Ranch. Kate told me she had one when she was a kid, but then Oma washed it in her clothes.
Oh no!
Washed her Tamagotchi.
Man.
Yeah.
Put that thing in some rice. See if it comes back to life.
Could be, man. See you at the crossroads, Tamagotchi.
So you won't be lonely.
So our topic of today's show, Steve, is none other than Child's Play Part 2 from 1990. And this was the first time that I ever watched this movie.
Okay.
I had never seen it.
Second time for me. I have not rewatched it since I saw it as a kid.
Wow,
Watching it again, I was remembering some of the things and then not remembering the story well.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I feel like I still had an accurate remembrance of its level in comparison to the original.
It is not a multifaceted, bejeweled story.
The original had much more like heart to it, I guess. Not heart in a positive way, but it had like more of a real feel to it.
Yeah.
You get Brad Dourif's like pain and stuff, and it's a bit more serious. This is campy and sort of jokey, but not in a terribly negative way.
It never goes completely over the top, which
right?
I'm honestly surprised about, considering this came out.
Yes, because it could have.
Yeah. I mean, this came out in 90, and by that time, Freddy and Jason had both been yucksters.
Yeah, they'd already been
years.
joking around for a while. And yeah, we get a few quips from Chucky.
Yeah.
And there's some funny sort of moments, like, you know, some of the kills are a little funny. And then, like, him, you know, being turned into a big pile of plastic goo was and then being blown up and looking kind of like a Cabbage Patch doll with like the big puffy cheeks.
Dude, I thought he
and
looked
stuff.
like a Garbage Pail Kid.
He did. That's
like he
true.
looked exactly like a fucking Garbage Pail Kid. But yeah, kind of like a Cabbage Patch Kid too. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Well, those two looked the same.
Yeah,
but
much.
one was gross and one was not.
But he in the end there did look like a Garbage Pail.
he did because he
Kid.
was gross.
Yeah. And there was some funny stuff in there too. Like I like that part when he was like, "Hi, my name is," and his eyes kind of dart, and he's like,
Tommy. Yeah.
Just some funny like little stuff in there.
Well, and like a lot of what add to the humor of this was that they had like an actually fully functional robotic Chucky. It was just like a puppet in the first one, right? Basically,
yeah, or like a little person,
or a little, from like behind and stuff
on a big set and stuff,
Right.
and they would disguise to look like a moving doll
Right.
and so on. Yeah, the animatronic in this is way more advanced than what we had in the first one.
It actually, to me, and I should just note, I watched all of the Child's Play movies
Good lord.
just this week, just to prepare for this, because I realized after watching that, I had never watched 3 a second time.
I've never seen 3 at all.
I had never seen any past that.
So none of the Chucky branded films,
Right.
a Seed or a Bride.
So I sat down and watched them all, and I'll tell you, like, the campiness gets played up more and more in the sort of middle movies, but in the last 2, they go back to the more serious tone of the first one.
Really?
It's kind of uneven, but it's also like I liked it. I kind of liked the campy ones and kind of liked when they went back serious. Like, I'm not saying that any of them was very great, but they were watchable.
Serviceable, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Like, because it's not, I've watched the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street movies a million times, but I've never gone back to this series and hadn't seen some of the movies. And watching it was like, yeah, I could see this on a similar level to Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, just not as compelling for me.
So
I'm
how
not
do you-
scared by it.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel like now that you watch the whole franchise, as far as like how it stacks up against other franchises? Is it better than, like, let's say, the way that Halloween
Yes.
severely shits the bed?
Better than Halloween, I think.
Better than a Hellraiser
Yes,
franchise?
I think better than Hellraiser.
Huh.
Because those two get so far away from what they started out as. And
Right.
I don't feel like the Child's Play movies do. Even Seed of Chucky, which is just wacky, like
Yeah,
insane.
they get silly with like Bride and Seed.
But
I want to
it's-
say I've seen Bride like forever ago. When
I
it came
think
out.
Bride. Okay, like if I had to rank them right now, I would say Bride of Chucky is my number 2.
Okay, yeah.
'Cause
Is the
it's-
first one still your number 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But Bride of Chucky is funny. It's like that good meta horror with
Self-aware, like
self-aware. But it's like Chucky was always like, from this movie, from the second one up to that, was sort of climbing that way anyway. So it was like a natural progress. The move back to the serious ones was jarring at first, but then I remembered like, oh right, that first one was serious and it was really good, and like it kind of follows that same thing. The interesting thing about all of them is that Don Mancini wrote every single one.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so
That's got to be the only time in one of these big horror franchises that has happened.
And I think that's why it has a good consistency to it, even though the movies are radically different. The character remains consistent and compelling, but not amazing, because I just am never afraid of him.
Right? Yeah,
Like,
it's a doll. It's like
it's
you
a doll.
you punt the thing and
Yeah.
it's done. I mean, if he, as he does multiple times in this movie, if he gets the jump on you and he's got a knife in his
Right.
hand, yeah, you are kind of fucked.
Yes.
But ultimately, face-off time, you just punt that thing and it's over.
I mean, your best defense against Chucky is just sitting in your yard. Because he's small, so he's hard to see. But if you're just sitting in your yard, what's he going to hide behind?
Yeah.
Like, if you go into your bedroom, he's hiding under the sheets or under
He's
the
in a
bed.
closet or
Like he's somewhere. Yeah.
You're saying that out in the open is
just
where
sit
you're
in
the
the yard,
safest.
he has no advantage.
That's true. You're not wrong there. So now that you've watched through all of these, and I think you've garnered a little bit more respect for the series,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the upcoming Chucky, is it a reboot or is it a continuation or reimagining? Whatever we're going to call it.
It's an entire reboot because Don Mancini's not involved. So,
Okay.
like, he wrote all of them up to this point.
Brad Dourif isn't involved.
Brad Dourif isn't involved.
And from what I understand, it's not a Charles Lee Ray story, right?
Now, that in some ways is more in line with the original spirit Don Mancini wanted. For the first one, Don Mancini wanted it to be about consumerism, and he wanted there to be this ambiguity about whether or not the doll was really alive or if it was
right, or the kid was doing the killings and stuff.
And
yeah, they flirted with that ambiguity in the original, but never really committed to it. But
Yeah.
I would have liked it if they did.
They kind of go back to that in Curse of Chucky and
Okay.
Cult of Chucky a little bit. So, like, I enjoyed that.
Mhm.
But they may be able to pull that off better with this basically internet Chucky, like this Alexa Chucky, whatever he is in this new version.
I'm interested to see how they play that because, like you said, with so many of our, quote unquote toys that we have right now being so tied up in our personal lives, like an Alexa or a smartphone or a tablet or whatever, there is a potential for them to frame this in a way that's really cool.
I also feel like, though, that story could have just been not Child's Play. Like, they could have just made an original movie with Mark Hamill as the voice of the AI and Aubrey. Like, could have been everything it is except just don't claim it's Chucky.
And that would have been pretty okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have their panties in a wad about Brad Dourif not being the voice of Chucky.
That does suck because he is the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're kind of getting away with it because they're saying this isn't Charles Lee Ray in this new one. So once I learned that, I'm like, oh, well, then it makes sense that it's not Brad Dourif. Like, it would be confusing if it was Brad because, again, this isn't Charles Lee Ray in this new one.
Yes. Like, if the Evil Dead reimagining or whatever had Bruce Campbell in it, it would have been like, well, so this is just another sequel. Yeah. Like,
right. Yeah. It would have been that kind of thing.
Yeah. I get it. And I mean, it comes out a couple days after this episode comes out, and we'll know soon enough if it's worth it. I hope people give it a shot, but I don't feel like we owe it anything as a horror community. I don't think we all need to go out and see it just because Child's Play has been such a huge part of the horror community for, over 20 years? 30 years. It started in 89, so been forever. Like, but we don't have to go see this movie. If you don't want to go see it, don't go see it. Like, there's no reason to go make yourself upset about something you love when I don't know that they had to throw Child's Play in the mix at all.
Yeah.
It's almost like a troll bit where they're like, it'll piss people off enough that they'll go to see it to be mad at it.
That's true too. Yeah.
And I don't think it deserves that. I don't think it deserves your money to just be mad at it.
Well, and the thing is too is I don't know that I've ever really met somebody who is just a
huge Child's Play fan?
like a dyed-in-the-wool hardcore, like they better not fuck with my Chucky movies. Yeah. I mean, I know that like Chucky is a beloved horror icon. He's up there obviously with Freddy and Jason and shit.
I would say he's like on the same level as like Pinhead or Pennywise, where it's like he has a cultural resonance, but I don't think everybody has seen every single Child's Play movie and can like remember what deaths happen in which movie and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of the thing is I think that a lot of people are Chucky fans, but not necessarily Child's Play fans.
Yes.
I think that they're fans of the character. I think they're fans of a creepy doll that talks shit and kills people,
which is cool.
Yeah, which is fine, but not necessarily like the movies. Like I never really meet people who are like, man, my favorite movie is fucking Child's Play 2.
Well, maybe we'll hear from them.
Yeah, because a lot of people
I would love to hear
movie.
like, because if there are people out there who absolutely love Child's Play, tell us more
Give me
about
some
it.
insight. Yeah, let me know why you like it so much.
I grew up with horror movies, grew up watching them all the time, and just never got into Child's Play that much.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear why, what caught you, he's Freddy Krueger like for sure.
Very quippy.
I get that.
Very body language.
Sure. It's I can get where maybe smaller kids who see the movie would relate to it a lot better.
He kills the bad adults and takes back the power and stuff, even though he's little, like me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also you could identify with Andy, who's, he's in the first 3 movies, so you can get kind of attached to him, maybe. I see that.
Well, and the thing is, too, is as a kid, I think this stuff is way more scary because you get these attachments to your personal belongings, your stuffed animals and stuff like that.
And
where
you give them personalities.
Exactly
as well.
right. Yeah. So I mean, whenever you have maybe a brain boiling fever and it's 4 a.m. and you wake up and you've got your little teddy bear next to you.
Exact occurrence. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like these things can be much scarier when you're a kid.
Yeah.
So I can see why that kind of appealed to that age group and stuff. Whenever we were younger and these things were coming out, I remember seeing the VHS box for this one at Video West.
Yeah.
With Chucky fixing to cut the head off of that Jack in the Box with scissors.
Right.
And it's weird because as a kid, I never even once thought about like, okay, is that relevant to the story? Is this story about a Jack in the Box that is being stalked by a killer doll?
Because that wouldn't be scary at all.
Yeah, because that's not a story. Yeah, exactly. But I just remember seeing the box and thinking, man alive, that looks fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that box very well too, and I remember being somewhat disappointed watching the movie because it was like, when's the Jack in the Box?
Yeah, when's that guy come in?
And it was only in the preview that it came in, and it was just him stomping a Jack in the Box and saying,
it was in the preview.
Yeah, sorry, Jack, Chucky's back.
Shit, I never saw that.
Yeah,
damn it.
It's you didn't miss much because again. Like, that's not in the movie, but it's also not even scary because it's not like any kid in 1990 had a strong emotional attachment to a Jack in the Box.
Right. Yeah.
So seeing that happen is not like, oh, trauma. It's like,
shit, that could happen to my Jack in the Box. Oh, dearie me. Now, this movie has some returning characters from our first flick here. Child's Play, the original, like, we really enjoyed. I think that it's got a lot of messages about consumerism.
Yeah.
And I think fears of parents bringing stuff into the house that's going to influence their children and shit like that. I think there's some great subtext and stuff in that first one. And some good characters and everything. Our main character that returns here is Andy. Who's the main kid from the first one, played by the same kid actor. And I'm happy to say he acted much better in this one.
He did. He got a year of experience under his belt and suddenly became a better actor.
He learned how to say Chucky. Do you remember how in the first one he was always like, Chucky?
Yeah, he was struggling with Chucky.
Always got kind of stuck on it. He did a lot better in this. I thought he was actually pretty dang believable. And there's a lot of other actors and actresses that are in like a million different bit parts of stuff you've seen. Like, I was watching this and I was like, I recognize that person from something.
Right. You recognize the woman who runs the foster agency.
Yeah.
She's the mother from Twin Peaks. She was the mother of George Costanza's fiance who died from licking envelopes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She did die from licking envelopes.
She's in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Just you look up her. Like, you could do that with basically anybody in this movie. Look at their IMDb and you'll go, oh my God. Right.
I've seen them in a million things.
Beth Grant, who plays the teacher who gets killed with a yardstick. She was in a ton of stuff, including being the mother in No Country for Old Men. Yeah.
Really? She's in that? See, I know her as I Doubt Your Commitment to Sparkle Motion.
Yeah. There we go.
That's what I know her as.
She's in so much stuff though. Like she was in Wonder Falls and Pushing Daisies. Any Brian Fuller project she's in, basically.
Wow.
Like she's in so much stuff. Beth Grant is great. And got like her first acting role was when she was like 30.
Oh wow.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, not first acting role entirely. She had acted in plays and stuff, but her first like television role.
Pretty cool.
She was 30.
What about the foster parents? What do I know them from?
The foster parents, the mom you would know from American Werewolf in London.
Oh, she's like the nurse in that,
Yes,
right?
uh-huh.
That's right, man. Her accent in this is extremely ambiguous.
Yeah, she's British.
Brit-ish.
She's British. Yeah.
British, really.
The dad you would recognize from a ton of stuff. I didn't write anything down, but like he's in so many things.
Yeah, I knew that I saw him in some other
Yeah.
stuff. What about Kyle? Is Kyle in anything else?
Yes, Kyle is in some other stuff too, including in the future. She's in the Cult of Chucky movie.
Okay,
also,
cool.
the actual actor who played Andy in the first two is in Cult of Chucky.
Oh,
they kind of
nice.
brought back a few people for that.
That's pretty dope.
But she was in Beverly Hills 90210 and like a ton of television shows.
Gotcha.
Throughout the 90s. So like she's very recognizable.
She was awesome in this, by the way.
Everybody, yeah, everybody's good in this. There's no bad acting in this. Oh, the assistant
thing,
guy at the beginning who's like talking to his
Yeah, it's
mistress
like-
on the phone.
It's not Maxwell, but it's something like
Yeah,
Maxwell.
It might have even been Maxwell.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's from like Ally McBeal and tons of other stuff. But yeah, everybody in this great character actors that know how to come in and just make a character believable. Mm-hmm. And that's all you need in a horror movie is people who know how to make a character believable, especially people who are going to die quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like you're introduced,
Yeah.
then you die.
Then you're
in
gone,
this.
yeah.
I will say one thing that I think this movie could have benefited from is just bigger characters.
That's true. Nobody stands out.
No,
they
there's no
all-
like real eccentric properties or
Right.
anything really crazy or wild about.
I guess
anybody
Kyle
in this.
is the closest to that. She has the name Kyle and she dresses weird.
and she rocks some smoking cigs.
Oh yeah, she's always smoking cigarettes.
Dude, her down in like the laundry room with that laundry basket on her hip and that smoke hanging just out of her
Oh,
mouth
yeah.
right there.
Ugh.
That's just some classic late 80s shit
Yeah, it
right
is.
there, man. But you know, it's like I wish that some of the characters in this would have been bigger, larger,
Yeah.
louder, more exaggerated or something because it's
Something
kinda like,
against Chuck. Somebody to work against Chucky.
yeah, because he's just larger than life in this
Yeah.
amongst all these characters that are kind of normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess among the foster family that he ends up in, it's like you've got the mom who seems kind of caring and sympathetic, and the dad who seems
seems-
like the worst foster dad ever.
Yeah, he seems like he's been drug into this by his wife. Like he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, which, you know, is again one of those things that I feel like they could have probably developed a little bit more.
Yeah,
Because,
that B story just doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I
the
get-
whole adoption angle.
okay, yeah, because I get the impression that they can't have kids.
Seems that way. Seems that they can't have kids and they've maybe struggled with it for years. And they talk about trying to adopt. I watched deleted scenes and I'm not sure.
I didn't see deleted
this
scenes.
in the movie or not where they're talking about how hard it is and how much money it's cost to adopt? I think that's a deleted scene.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the one I watched.
It is a deleted scene. And I thought when I watched it, I was like, I know why they cut this out because they don't follow up on it, but they should have followed up on it and left that in. And because this movie's only an hour 28,
Yeah, it is short.
they could have added in 3 more minutes to make that B story mean something.
Right. Yeah, because there's people that can have kids and stuff that have had kids that go on to do foster care and
Yeah.
stuff. I've known people that have done that.
Yeah,
But in this, there's kind of the subtext that maybe they can't have kids. Like, there's
Yeah.
that whole thing right when Andy gets to the house and they show him that, like, little, like, porcelain figurine.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, it was my grandmother's, and it was my mother's, and it was mine. And Andy's like, who are you going to give it to? And she's like,
I don't know.
And then, you know, another big piece of subtext that I picked up on.
What was that?
Whenever they're riding home with Andy after they pick him up from the foster home, they're like, hey, Andy, what's your favorite food?
Chocolate.
No. And then he says, eggs. And they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we don't have any eggs at home.
Oh, shit. That's what they were trying to get at.
Infertile.
Infertile.
That's what they were trying to say
Wow.
right there. That's what they were trying to say. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that angle could have been after the husband dies, there should have been a little bit more time of processing and not reacting. Like she immediately reacts and she's just like, you're out of here, you little kid. Like he killed him or something. Like it's almost like, wait, was the husband the one who wanted the kids? Because you just turned on him immediately.
It's true.
So, like, if they, instead of that, if they had her sort of process it a bit and struggle with giving Andy up, and then also if they had shown her death, because she just dies off screen, and
we see the aftermath of her sitting there at the sewing machine and stuff. Doesn't Chucky like creep up on her with like a bed sheet, and we see that he's like maybe gonna strangle her, but we don't really.
There's some like lead up to it, but we don't see it. Yeah, and I feel like we would have needed to see it. We would have needed to process her death to care about all this. So like, that B story and the adoption angle really just doesn't go anywhere.
Well, here's the thing about it that I was kind of left with, especially regarding some of the, again, the need for characters that were bigger, louder, and all that kind of thing I'm going to talk about. I think what really could have helped this movie, and just imagine for a second, if you will.
Okay.
Imagine if you had a totally off the rails, in his element, in his fighting weight, late 80s Tim Burton direct this movie. Tell me it wouldn't be better.
I mean, it's Tim Burton-y already, because it's like dark but bright colors.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's something that Kate pointed out while we were watching it. Because like, I was talking about how garish that house was, and then also just how crazy the factory looks. And she's like, it's very like Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. And it is. If you think about like Batman Returns and shit like that.
Yeah.
Tim Burton could have smoked this movie and made some of these characters more outlandish and memorable and weird and eccentric. Because ultimately, when you get down to it, a lot of the locales and characters in this movie are so ordinary. And then you have these things that are batshit wacky, like the factory at the end and the beginning. Like, the factory stuff in this movie is my favorite part.
Yeah, it's the best.
Of the movie. It absolutely is. But also, I will sit here and tell you, it is way out of place in this movie.
I know that the setup is that he told Andy the secret that he was actually Charles Lee Ray, and now he has to use Andy to get his soul into a body.
Get all up in him.
I get that that's the pretense, but this would have been a better movie if you just dropped that and made it Chucky fighting his way out of this factory. Like, just basically killing his way through security and stuff and trying to escape.
Yeah.
And then 3 could be him going after Andy. You can go back to Andy if you want, but like, part 2, it would have been so much better. Just stay in that factory. Stay in the moments where it's real fun and funny and really cool creative deaths and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, if you had an early Tim Burton directing this and making it bright and colorful but dark and strange and humorous but also grisly, I really think that it could have worked.
I would dig that.
Like, imagine him making a movie about a doll that comes to life and kills adults. Like, that sounds like a Tim Burton movie. When you just
that
say
sounds
it.
like a Tim Burton movie already.
I think it could have worked. I honestly even think it would have been cool if here for the second movie of this franchise, if in the opening 10 minutes, the doll is resurrected, put back together, whatever, goes and actually successfully transfers himself into Andy's body.
That could have been interesting.
And the rest of the movie is Killer Andy. And we get to see that kid be dark and weird and fucked up.
Yeah.
I would have been way on board with that.
Yeah. I think that is the disappointment of this sequel, is that while it got a little funnier and a little more campy, it didn't do much to progress the characters.
It didn't world build at all.
Yeah.
Like in the first one, there's so many memorable things that kind of flesh out that world, as far as like, you've got Andy who's really taking care of himself. There's all this merchandise for the good guys dolls. There's all these memorable scenes, like whenever he goes to that like crack house where Chucky kills his old partner, and then there's like the voodoo house.
That was all real interesting. Like, what is this world? What is this spell he's saying and stuff? And here it just kind of like, remember all that stuff from the first one? Yeah, that stuff.
We're
still doing that,
Yeah, because ultimately this movie starts with the factory. Crazy, caught my interest. Awesome opening scene.
Goes to boring adoption stuff.
Goes to boring house, boring school.
Right.
There's some other stuff.
Back to the factory.
Back to the factory. Again. Fuck yeah, dude. Like, as soon as the movie wound up, for those last 20 minutes or so back at the factory, I was like, fuck yes.
And
Because
it
the
was
whole
great.
movie, yeah, I had been like, when are they bringing the factory back?
Yeah.
I want to go back to there. It's like all these primary colors, like it's built out of Legos.
Yes.
And it's in the outskirts of Chicago.
And though
what the
it
fuck
makes
is this place?
0 sense for a factory, it's got like all the dolls stacked up, but that they created like alleyways that twist and wind.
Well, so that
no reason for that, but it makes it fucking fun.
Well, they did it that way so they could just completely ape the end of The Shining.
Yes.
Where you have a woman and a child being chased by something on a Steadicam through a maze. I guess in The Shining it's just obviously Danny.
Right.
But it felt like the Shining
did.
ending sequence to me. I feel like there's other homages. There's like Terminator homages.
Oh
in this.
yeah, oh for sure. They're playing
Chucky
homage
pulling
to
himself with his legs off and
Terminator. And like even at the beginning, it's like the rebuilding of the Terminator because like they start pulling off the rubber and he's like metal underneath.
Yeah, scraping the metal and stuff like that.
Yeah,
very, very, very much reminiscent of that. Which is kind of meta.
Yes, exactly. This we talked about it with Sleepaway Camp 2. Like this is the period where this meta stuff was starting to show up that would eventually be really well synthesized by Wes Craven into Scream, but like people were getting meta in these late 80s early 90s things in a way that's fun. And I dug that about this movie. I dug the fun part of it and wish that it had just been more fun. That could have really improved it.
The middle parts of the movie are really extremely forgettable.
They are. They are.
And again, to me, it's just because it's just ordinary places with ordinary people.
Part 3, I'll tell you this, way forgettable.
Is it?
Yeah,
it takes place like a military.
It takes place in a military
right?
academy. There's like a lot of what's going on is the tension of being in a military academy, and it's like again. There's a killer doll, guys. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, a doll that kills.
Yeah. But, I mean, there are some good kills in part. Not that 3 is terrible. I've been trying to rank them in my head, and it's real hard for me because I think 3 is maybe the weakest, but it's not a bad movie.
All right.
It's still watchable and still has some good parts to it. This movie's not great in comparison to some of the others, but it's also still fine. It's a quick movie. It's only an hour and 20.
Yeah, it's not going to waste your time or anything.
Complain about. Yeah. But it could have been better, I think, is the problem when you watch some of the Chucky movies is that, well, this could have just been like just a small tweak and this could have been so much better.
Right. Go ahead and spoil this for me because I'm really curious at the end of this movie after we see how Chucky dies, which we'll talk about the kills and stuff in this. How do they bring Chucky back for 3? I'm curious.
They remelt. He gets like basically remelted in with the other plastic and then remade. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's kind of the Freddy thing where it's just like, who cares how he came back? Whatever, he's back.
Yeah. I kind of actually, when the third one started, it starts in that factory, but the factory hasn't been running for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then they basically restart the factory. But like the movie doesn't keep up, like the third one that is doesn't keep elevating the humor, which I think you need to do once you've introduced it. You got to keep elevating it. And since it doesn't do that, it kind of falls flat. But then the fourth and fifth one, they elevate the humor a lot. Like the fifth one gets super ridiculous, but also still kind of fun.
Okay.
Whereas the third one just kind of falls flat. The second one, it's got its fun parts for sure.
Including some of the kills and stuff in
some
this movie.
Great
There's
kills.
some great kills in here. I wasn't really expecting that, because the first one, again, I like the first one, but I wouldn't tell you it has a lot of really great, memorable kills. No. This has a handful that are actually pretty fucking
The plastic
awesome.
bag kill, even. Like,
the Black Christmas. That's another homage. Yes. Black Christmas. Yeah.
And it was going way different than stuff he had done in the first one.
Right.
By, like, being stealthy. And I thought they were going to keep that up. That's why I was kind of disappointed when he fights with Kyle a couple of times where they like physically
Kinda
struggle.
grappling around.
And I'm
yeah.
like, he's a goddamn doll.
Yeah, that goes back to our complaint about the first one, where we're like, okay, he's a doll. How much physical strength does he actually have?
Right. So
and
he-
you're also constantly wrestling with, like, he's becoming more human. Okay, if you're a human that's the size of a baby doll,
Yeah, it's not going to make you strong.
yeah, exactly. So
He's not
there's-
becoming more Charles. He's not Ant-Man.
right.
Like, he's not like Charles Lee Ray's strength, but in the size of a doll.
Yeah, it's kind of unclear because there's some of the kills in this that I can give great, like free passes to, where I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like he didn't need physical strength to pull off putting a bag around that guy's head,
Right, yeah.
and stuff like that. But there are a few that it's just like, okay,
I would say that's where Bride of Chucky does real well, where they basically are doing stealth kills a lot, and Seed of Chucky the same, where like the kills work because it doesn't require the doll to wrestle with a full-sized human.
got it. Yeah, that kind of breaks the illusion, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
In this movie, we've also got that awesome kill with the guy who is I guess the lone technician in this automated doll factory.
Just late at night, he's just hanging out.
The only guy there.
Yeah. Sees a problem on the line and goes to check it out and gets his eyes doll-eyed.
That is fucking awesome.
It is cool. It's
I mean, I
really
saw
cool.
it coming 100 miles away.
Yeah, from the moment they show that thing at the beginning, putting the eyes in the doll, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's looks
Somebody's
brutal.
getting that thing. Somebody's getting that, dude. Yeah, I guess it is back at the very first, isn't
Yeah.
it? Where the guy's like rebuilding the doll, and the guy gets inexplicably electrocuted.
Electrocuted.
Yeah, does Chucky have like
Some-
electric powers?
okay,
What's going on?
In some ways, this is a reboot of the first movie, where Don Mancini is making it how they wanted to make it in the first one. How they originally had planned it was that as Charles Lee Ray got electrocuted, the factory of the dolls was next door and on the same electric line, and his soul got pulled through the electricity and
Holy
put
shit.
into the doll. So they kind of
Whoa, I didn't know
reused
that.
that idea a little bit. Yeah. That would have been
Interesting.
cool. I mean, not that it makes any more sense than
no.
Voodoo.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, in this world, voodoo's
Yeah.
real.
In this world, voodoo.
yeah, it's like fucking, I don't know,
Dumbala.
scorpion gods and stuff like that
Yeah.
are actually running the show.
Yeah. That's introduced by Tom Holland for the first one, and Don Mancini hated it.
Really?
And that's why the Chucky doll, or the good guy doll that they give to him that gets killed by Chucky, is named Tommy. It's an
he's
Easter
like,
egg
"Fuck
for Tom.
you."
They were saying basically we're killing what Tom Holland did and burying it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was really wondering about that. Because ultimately, Chucky goes into this foster care home, finds this other good guy doll.
Uh-huh.
He could just throw it in the alley. It's not like it's
Sure.
going to go and run away or
Yeah.
run back to the house or just put it in the trash can or just some
Yeah.
garbage or whatever.
But no, he hides it in a place where it's definitely going to get uncovered.
Well, before that, he fucking smashes its face in.
Yeah.
Like, he kills it.
No reason for that.
There's zero reason
Why
for
is he
that.
angry at a good guy doll?
I don't know.
He's just angry, that Charles Lee Ray.
Just an angry kind of fella.
Wow.
Yeah. So the eyeball kill is great. I love the copy machine kill.
I love that.
Awesome.
So great. I love the photocopies coming out with like the cracked glass and the blood and
Her
stuff.
exceedingly deader face
Yeah.
in all sort of elements of distress. That cracked me up. That
was great.
so fucking funny to
It
me.
really was. It
I
was
mean, the
good.
fact that she gets like, I think she gets like stabbed or throat cut or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like
Stabbed.
falls on this
Yeah.
copy machine.
Yeah, it's
Hilarious.
It's ridiculous, and therefore works very well in this sort of campy movie. Which is, again, they should have just stayed sort of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like, don't have him actually fight with have him go to fight with Kyle, and Kyle just push him, and he goes flying across the room. Mm-hmm. That's funny and more accurate. It keeps up the humor value and also reminds us, yeah, he's a doll, and no, he couldn't take down an adult.
His dolliness in terms of his essence of how much of a doll he is
Right.
is kind of convenience based.
It is. He can be full-on doll if he needs to hide.
Yeah.
But if he wants to be Charles Lee Ray Killer, he looks like
Menacing and shit.
menacing,
yeah. And he has nosebleeds.
but he's got more articulation in his face than normal.
Right. So, like, one example that I was thinking of in particular about when it's convenient for him to be a doll is that scene where Andy's getting ticked off that the doll has, like, tied him up in bed, which is real rapey, by the way.
Yeah, when he says, let's play hide the soul.
Yeah.
That's gross.
This is the same serial killer doll that said, I have a date with a 6-year-old boy or whatever in the first one. Mm-hmm. Same guy. So, yeah, little sketch right there.
Well, I think, like, it is sketchy, but I think, like, Chucky plays that up. Because he's
totally.
like, I don't care what people think about me. I'm going to make a joke about molesting a kid.
Right, right. But after all that hullabaloo, the dad decides to throw the doll down the stairs into the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, whenever he's at the top of the staircase, which is like 10 or 15 feet high,
right,
and he throws Chucky to the bottom of the stairs, which is on a concrete floor, what if his head would have just busted like a pumpkin full of blood and brains, and the dad would have been like, what the fuck have I done?
And Andy would be like, you saved us all.
Credits.
And then he would be like, I'm going to adopt you, son.
Because, you know, really, it's like if he's going to get nosebleeds and stuff like that and be that delicate,
yes,
getting thrown down the stairs, you should die.
And also, if you can just grab him and throw him down the stairs, when he jumps on
anytime.
Kyle's back, just reach back there, grab him, throw him.
Chuck him,
The end.
Yeah.
Bye, Chucky.
Grab him by the leg and just like Hulk does to Loki in the Avengers, just whip him over. It's done. But I will say that the humanization of Chucky and the way that he gets progressively more gored and bloody and nasty in this is really effective to me, and I'm not sure why.
When he pulls his own hand off because he gets
brutal.
Caught, that's very brutal. He's just like, ugh! You know why? It's because Brad Dourif's fucking voice acting is what draws you in.
Extremely convincing.
The face is also well articulated.
It is, yeah.
But Brad Dourif's, like, he's
a treasure.
So fucking awesome.
Well, and too, like when he gets like stuck in that little the articulation box thing, like sticks all the arms onto the dolls.
Yeah,
and
he's just screaming.
Yeah, it's extremely convincing.
Yes,
he's great. His voice acting in this is amazing, dude.
Yeah,
but yeah, that scene where he gets his hand caught under that gate and he pulls it off, and it's just like meat on a stump. Yeah. And then he, again, another horror tribute, Evil Dead's that shit. Sticks a knife into his stump.
Yes.
Awesome.
Goddamn right.
So sick. Like,
that was so good.
Yeah. And again, just painful and disgusting, even though you're just watching a doll. For some reason, it really grossed me out.
Yes.
Same with when his legs are off.
And he's just crawling.
Oh my God,
man.
dude. It's awesome. Extremely, extremely weird to me, and I'm not exactly sure why. I guess the idea that your dolls are full of meat and blood,
that is gross.
When you say it that way, you realize why it's so strange, I guess.
I got you this meat and blood doll.
Pass.
Not interested.
Not a fan. What do you think about the way that Chucky is dispatched in this? Because he dies like 3 times.
He does, and I think it's real great that he's becoming more human throughout the movie, and his death is being encased in plastic, which is like, for a movie that doesn't have a whole lot of nuance to it, that's a very nuanced death, saying that this guy basically already is dead because he's encased in plastic. Just taking that death and saying, like, look, this is what that is. You're already dead.
Because the spell didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he finally captures Andy, tries to do the spell. Doesn't really do it.
Kind of becomes a little running sort of joke almost, is that the spell doesn't ever seem to fucking work in any of the movies, except for when Jennifer Tilly becomes the
bride of Chucky.
The bride of Chucky.
Can't remember what her name is. Yeah.
It's kind of a running joke that spell just never works, and I think that is again Don Mancini's hatred for the voodoo element. Like he said very specifically in interviews that he hates the voodoo element, but can't get rid of it because it's part of the series. It's from the original. So he's had to keep it, and so to make it kind of a running joke,
Make it not work.
Yeah, make it not work.
That's kind of fun, actually,
Yeah.
when you get down to it. I feel like there's sort of a subtext about late 80s, early 90s trickle-down economics, Reaganomics yuppies in this movie that never really pays off.
All right, let me hear about it.
So, okay. So, again, whenever they pick up Andy, we talked about the scene a second ago, they ask him what his favorite foods are, and he says he likes eggs because his mom used to make him eggs. The family, the foster mom and dad are like, well, we don't have any at home. We'll have to stop by the organic market and pick some up. Which, nowadays...
That's no big deal.
Yeah, it's like...
Stop by the organic market, okay.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yuppies won.
But I'll say this. Yuppies, if they did win, and the winning for them is us having organic eggs accessible to us, it's not so bad.
Not so bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like, okay, again, them saying we need to stop by the organic store and pick up some farm eggs or whatever. It's like, nowadays, it's like, well, yeah, you do. They're much better for you and vegetarian diet, yada, yada. Right. At the time in the late 80s, that was not
that
the
was
norm.
Nuts. Yeah. They would seem nuts just by fostering kids in the 80s, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it was still, like, scary.
Right.
The idea to bring this strange child into your house. So, and this actually plays that out where the strange child does kind of end up being the death of them.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they kind of try to play that out more when the dad is like, well, do you like sushi?
Yeah, sushi, again, in modern day, you'd be like, yeah, sushi, you can get that at the gas station.
Yeah.
But in the 80s, saying sushi meant like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Have you been to Tokyo? Yeah.
So, like, they're really trying to play that up. It kind of reminds me of, like, the neighbor couple in Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. Where I think they have, like...
Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They have, like, margaritas, and I think they have, like, sushi on Christmas and stuff.
I do remember a time when margaritas were exotic. Do you...
Right.
This was, like...
Totally.
Late 80s, early 90s here in the South, at least.
Right.
Margaritas were an exotic thing. It was like, dude, what a frozen liquor drink that tastes delicious.
With booze from south of the border in Mexico? What? Are you kidding me? There's criminals there.
I'll have one of these margaritas. Is that how it's pronounced?
Is that how you say? Como say margaritas?
Como say margaritas?
Quote, our mothers in the late 80s.
Oh my God. I may have said this before, but my mother, every time... El Cezanne was like the Mexican restaurant in this area.
Yeah. This is a long-standing Mexican restaurant. Yeah. Actually ate there tonight.
Yeah. Not bad. Still a good restaurant. Still makes good food. But my mom would always get the chili relleno.
Oh yeah, the relleno.
Delicious. Amazing.
Double L in though. That's treacherous for whiteys.
Oh boy.
Relleno.
Boy, my mother called it everything not even close to that, but most often called it chili relloni. I'll have the chili relloni.
That's probably the whitest thing I've ever heard.
Yep. And the servers would just be like, okay.
No, we got it.
I got it.
I know what you mean. My God, man. That's hilarious. So, yeah, they're trying to play them up as being yuppies because they want organic eggs and sushi. And then there's this other scene where, again, there's that... The kind of henchman guy, the Maxwell guy that takes the Chucky doll home from the factory.
Yeah.
The guy that's kind of like set to the task of burying this whole thing and making it so it doesn't exist. So he's on the phone with
on
his girlfriend. On his car phone.
Yeah.
Right. And he's talking to this chick and they're celebrating their 2-week anniversary.
Yeah, he's cheating on his wife with this woman.
Okay, so... I didn't get the cheating on the wife scene.
Yeah, it was deleted. It's a deleted scene, yeah.
I didn't get that. So in mine, it was just like, oh, he's on the phone with his girlfriend.
Right, he's just scuzzy with his girlfriend,
Yeah, and I was thinking...
he's even more scuzzy.
Right. Well, because I was kind of thinking, it's like, is the 2-week anniversary the vodka anniversary? Is it like one year is your paper anniversary or whatever?
First off, I hope that's true.
Yeah?
It should be the vodka anniversary. But also, he says to her, I know what that stuff does to you. It gets you drunk? What do you mean?
I guess so.
Vodka is not, like, no one ever says, I'm a mean vodka drunk. Like, people are like, I can't have brown liquor. I get wild. Or I can't have tequila.
Makes my clothes fall off.
I can't have vodka because it makes me get drunk.
You know what that stuff does to me.
I will be drunk.
It's pretty neutral tasting.
Yep.
And it will inebriate me. Yeah, that's true. Doesn't really do much, honestly.
No, this just gets you drunk. That's what it is.
So this guy goes into the liquor store, and here's the thing about it. He goes in there, he gets a bottle of liquor, he tries to pay for it with his like Amex like gold card.
Right.
He's like, it's as good as cash.
You're fucking right. I didn't notice all this yuppie stuff until you started talking about it. Yeah.
So the guy turns him down and is like, it's not accepted here.
Yeah.
Which ultimately lends nothing to the storyline.
No.
If he just would have gone in there and got a bottle of vodka and paid for it.
He didn't even need to show the interior shot. Just show him walking out of the store with a bag.
Yeah, because ultimately he needs to get out of the car so that Chucky can make the phone call to find out where Andy is, right? So ultimately showing what happens inside the liquor store has no consequence.
Right. So
whether he would have got it or
they're
not,
really trying
matter.
to focus or point at this yuppiness.
So this guy has plastic and it's as good as cash, but it's not accepted.
Yeah.
So he's kind of helpless in that way. But I don't really know what they're trying to say there because it never exactly pays off. Like there's nothing in here that ever really goes anywhere.
There had to have been some way that the adoption storyline and this yuppie stuff all came together and paid off, but then they were just like, it's not necessary for a horror movie.
I think so.
That. Yeah.
Well, because especially considering that, again, the movie's like an hour 28.
Yeah, it's real short.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff that got cut.
Yeah, the cutscenes that I saw were mostly just extended versions of conversations. Like Andy talked a good bit more to the psychiatrist guy. That the assistant guy talked to his wife and then called his mistress. So there was just a little bit more explanation and a little bit more exposition, but I guess anything that would have been more to those storylines or themes was never even shot.
No.
It was not a huge budget movie, 13 million, but that's not a small budget.
Mm-hmm. Oh, especially in 1990.
I mean, definitely they spent a good bit of money on effects. Like, it looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Like, it still holds up. And the doll, I think the doll in part 2 looks better than the doll in some of the more recent ones.
I mean, I saw the trailer for the new one, and it's like a CGI doll. It looks fucking awful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no excuse.
No.
For a movie from 1990 looking better than your movie that has a budget that's
really
10 times as much. There's
I
no
mean,
excuse,
I know
man.
it takes more work to create this robotic puppet.
Here's the thing, though. Does it? Because if you're talking about making an animatronic figure that looks humanoid, yes, CGI is cheaper. Absolutely.
Sure. But if you're doing a doll...
That's the great thing about doing Chucky, is like, it ultimately should look like a toy.
Yeah.
It should look like it has points of articulation.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's to your advantage.
Exactly. That should make the whole process easier.
As toy-like as you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead, when you do it as CGI and everything looks all smooth and shiny, that isn't what a toy looks like.
Right.
You know?
Man, it is a real disappointment to think that like Kevin Yeager made this awesome doll that still exists somewhere, most likely. All they'd have to do is reskin it for a new movie.
No shit, right?
And it would look just as good as it did in 1990.
Yeah. And that guy's an effects whiz. He's worked on all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he worked on the first 3 Nightmare on Elm Streets. His first major credit was the Friday the 13th Part 4, which we just did. So he worked with Tom Savini.
Oh, no shit. He worked on that.
Made, some of that stuff that we saw in The Room.
Made that hand that got all split down the middle and wiggled around or something. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
so he got to do some great stuff in those movies. I mean, Friday the 13th 1 through 3, that includes... Part 3 with the Freddy snake, that was badass.
Oh, yeah.
The Part 3 also has the Welcome to Prime Time bitch, which is awesome.
Yeah, the TV head kill.
Yeah, he's worked on a ton of great stuff, and he created the design for Chucky and made Chucky. So Chucky is like his baby, and he made this really great looking fucking robotic model. I don't know why you wouldn't just keep using it.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I think a lot of it is that it's easier on set. I'm starting to understand from watching the documentaries and stuff that I've watched for movies up to this point. It's easier on set to say, it's going to be that tennis ball over there. Just look at it and say your line.
Right.
Than to have to deal with all of the moving parts that are the practical effects while also having actors act against it.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that has a lot to do with it, that it's just easier to get it in the can and then deal with everything in post than it is to do all that stuff on set.
Yeah, probably so. I didn't get to watch any of the making of stuff. Was there some cool features and things in there?
Well, I watched the deleted scenes. I also watched an interview with Don Mancini, but like I didn't like. There was some cool stuff about the effects and how they made the doll.
Yeah,
that was cool. But beyond that, the DVD doesn't have a whole lot going more than that. It was about a 5-minute explanation of how they made the Chucky doll. It was cool, but not much.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about the soundtrack work in this?
I mean, I liked that it was a bit more childish than the original. Is like, you know, the big swelling score.
Mm-hmm.
And this Graham Revel, who has worked on a ton of things, he made it a bit more like toy-like, childish.
Just like, but it's like the pipe organ theme is kind of the main thing here, which is cool.
Yeah, but it doesn't stand out. It's not a big draw to the movie.
Yeah. The original had this cool theme with like kind of orchestral bells and things like this that kind of reminded me of that theme that you hear in Trick or Treat. It's kind of a similar thing with the thing, you know? It kind of reminded me of that, which I liked a lot. But in this, it's this pipe organ theme. To me, I don't know, like, it's serviceable. It's not memorable.
It's not bad.
It never pulled me out of the movie. It never exactly distracted me or enhanced anything per se.
Yeah.
It was fine.
I do like that, because in the first one, I don't know if you remember the lightning effects.
I don't know that I do.
Like in the opening, the lightning effects, they just looked so... It obviously looked like a miniature with... like a double exposure background.
It kind of looked like Ghostbusters.
Kind of looked like Ghostbusters,
And in this one, he's doing the spell in the toy factory. There's kind of the swelling cloud effect that reminded me of Ghostbusters.
Exactly, It looks more like cotton over a mini factory than in reality. I like that they kept some of that, but I also like that the electricity effect, in comparison to their lightning effect from the first one, looked more cartoony, but it also looked better.
Right.
It didn't look...
It worked.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everything in this visually was done pretty perfectly.
I can't complain about much, honestly. As far as the visuals go, there wasn't really a lot of things where I was like, okay, that was fucking fake or whatever.
Yeah.
It looked pretty damn good.
But yeah, from a storytelling perspective, I would have expected either they leaned more into Chucky, make the B story some more like detail about his life or something, or actually develop the Andy B story. But either way it goes, like, just a stronger secondary through line in the movie would have made it, because, you know, as we said, that middle part is just... it's sort of a drag. Like, you get the teacher kill, and then by the time he gets to killing the foster parents, that's basically, it's all downhill after that
you're
point.
kind of getting to the accelerated ending of the movie by then.
So there's like just this big segment where it's just sort of exposition about adopting and we learn that Kyle has been in a bunch of foster homes, but it's like, well, you could have said that in one sentence and we would have gotten it.
Yeah,
you don't have to
much.
keep going over it. But still, this isn't a terrible movie.
No, it's not. And unfortunately, it's like the middle part of this movie, when you're talking about a movie that is an hour and 20 minutes long, middle part's not that long.
Shouldn't be dragging.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, it's like when it's ultimately this fast-paced of a movie, it shouldn't be dragging. I never really got bored during the movie.
No.
It never really, I never really got my attention diverted or anything like that, but ultimately, looking back on it, I was like, yeah, the middle part of the movie was pretty dull.
I think it's because because it doesn't have a resolution, because the middle part is so much about fostering and adoption, but then there's no resolution to that.
Yeah.
It just, like, while it's happening, it's like, well, this is flying along at a normal pace, but then when nothing comes of it, it's like, well, what the fuck did I waste all my time paying attention
That's
to
the
that
thing,
for? Yeah.
right? And it's weird too when knowing that in the first movie, Andy gets thrown into this like Dickensian child prison
Yeah.
for nothing.
It's crazy.
And then in this, he basically is caught red-handed, seemingly having murdered his foster dad. It's just like, I don't know, back to the foster home. Somebody else will
whatever.
adopt you or whatever. You ever thought about how bad Andy's life sucks?
It's
Like,
real
how
bad.
especially for like a horror movie character, how bad his life fucking sucks. Like other characters in horror movies,
Okay, I would compare him to Tommy. That would be my immediate comparison, because he's in 3 Friday movies. Or maybe like, is anybody in... Oh, isn't Alice? She's in a couple of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
yeah. Well, Kirsten is in a few.
Kirsten's in a couple.
Kristen, whichever way she says it
Kirsten
in
or
the movie.
Kristen, yeah.
yeah. She's in a couple of them, but
Yeah.
it's like ultimately, you know, even like Laurie Strode still smoked
Right.
pot and fooled around,
Uh-huh.
but Andy in this is like
just a kid.
he's just a kid who wanted
Yeah.
a doll.
Yeah.
Like he did nothing to
What?
deserve having this like maniac killer.
I think maybe that's why the third one doesn't... It's... People don't love it, because Andy, we feel sorry for Andy.
Yeah,
and
his
then
life
he gets
sucks.
thrown into this military school and people treat him like shit, and it's like, okay, hold on. His life fucking sucks. Like,
Yeah.
why throw him in a situation where it's even worse?
yeah.
We want to see Andy succeed, not get like his face ground in the dirt.
Right. I would have loved to have seen Prince Humperdinck from the first one come back. in
Right.
this. It kind of made no sense for me for him to be like, oh, the cops denied any of this happened. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Humperdinck and like another officer saw the doll come
Yeah.
to life and try to kill
And
them.
they put the mother in a insane asylum or something.
It's all just this convenience. Like, I don't know, get these characters out of the movie.
Yeah.
They have too much to say.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
They could have just cut the whole Foster storyline entirely, had the mother and Humperdinck come back as like a couple, and then like, because you don't need Andy trying to convince his parents that Chucky's real. Just have him at school trying to convince other students or teachers, or like he's in all these other situations
Yeah.
where he's got to do this. Because even his attempts at convincing the foster parents is just like very beginning, and then he's like, he overhears the foster dad saying he doesn't know if he can like do
Deal
this.
with him, yeah.
And Andy's like, oh, okay, well, I'll try to like get past my fear of the good guy doll. Like Andy makes this decision and works at trying to not be afraid of this Tommy doll.
Yeah, which is real fucked up.
It is like
real sad, man.
Yes, it's
Kid don't
super
have his
sad.
fucking mom.
He's like, oh, okay, they're gonna take me back to the foster home if I don't do this. So
I guess
I'll
I like
confront
this doll.
the thing that tried to kill me and my mom and just deal with it.
That sucks.
It's real sad. Andy's
Yeah.
life sucks.
It really does, man. He's been through more shit by the time he reaches double digits than most
Yeah.
people go through their entire lives.
Yeah, that
Sucks.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Overall, this movie's fine.
it is.
You know, it's like I don't like it as much as I like the first one. I know it seems like a lot of people like this one more. It seems to be kind of a consensus among
Well,
a
I think
lot
the
of fans that
camp
like it more.
factor and the kills
The
are
kills
more
are better.
creative. Yeah,
But
So,
overall, it just
yeah.
doesn't have as many like memorable beats to me as the
No.
first one does. And there was potential for more. Again, I think a director with a more dark kind of vibe, again, like a Tim Burton,
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier, I think could have done this movie justice and brought some new weird and interesting points to it from
Yeah.
angles of consumerism and stuff like that. I think that could have been cool, especially considering that the late 80s and early 90s were, I mean, a pinnacle of consumerism.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
I think that it could have been more interesting, but in terms of a sequel, in terms of a part two, there's worse.
oh yeah.
There's definitely worse.
For
Better
sure.
than Halloween 2.
Better than Halloween 2, I would say. Maybe on par with Hellraiser 2, maybe a little better.
Maybe a little
not.
better.
I mean, Hellraiser 2's visuals were great.
Yeah, it's got a few scenes in there that are pretty unforgettable, but honestly, the story.
Yeah, the story doesn't make much sense. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so it's not a bad part 2 for a horror franchise.
I think if I'm going to get on to the ratings phase and give this thing kind of an overall solid beat down, I don't know, man. I think something in the area of 6 seems pretty okay for this movie, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, again, it's like it's not great, but it also doesn't take up your whole day to watch it.
It's true.
Some good kills.
Yeah.
Brad Dourif is fucking awesome.
He is so good.
All the toy factory stuff is amazing. Again, like seeing Chucky like ripped in half and then getting amalgamated with all those toy pieces
so
like shoved
cool.
onto his body is crazy.
Yes.
And then blown up and exploded.
The exploding part, like it's so over the top.
It's awesome.
Perfect.
Well, here's one thing. You know, we were talking earlier about how those, you know, we reminisce about those 80s video games and stuff like that and how they were so good. And how that's not all that true. I will tell you one thing that is true. In the 80s and early 90s, a slow motion explosion was truly a thing of glory.
It was.
If you're talking about like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man exploding and all that like fluff and filament flying everywhere, Chucky in this one with all that plasticized shit blowing up and spattering everybody. They did a lot of slow-mo explosions back in the day that looked awesome, and we don't have enough of those anymore.
It's true. We don't. Because in practical terms, most explosions have been replaced by computer-generated explosions. Because it is entirely unsafe to just explode stuff for fun.
Oh, dude, I can't even imagine the fumes coming off of all this melting plastic and shit in this.
But, man, it was a good time. Just seeing stuff explode. I mean, we just talked about it with Friday the 13th Part 4. The opening is the fucking mask exploding. Like,
exploding was kind of the cool thing to do when we were kids.
Yes, it was. It really was.
It's kind of the thing.
Like, I was so obsessed with, what is that called? Spontaneous human combustion.
Oh,
I was so obsessed with that as a kid.
Was it from the Unsolved Mysteries episode about it? Fuck yeah, me
of course
too,
it
dude.
was.
Oh man, they talked about a couple cases of it. I was fascinated.
Absolutely fascinated.
Do you think like young boys are as into blowing stuff up and setting stuff on fire as we were in like the 80s? I don't think they were either.
I don't think they were before that either. Some of this they talked about in that The Toys That Made Us.
Yeah.
But basically a lot of what we consider boys will be boys and masculinity today comes from, in the 80s, them branching from really focusing on just trying to get kids to play with their toys to trying to get boys to play with specific toys and girls to play with specific toys.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of created the ideas that so many people our age have in their head that men are supposed to be this way, and it's always been like that, but it wasn't always like that.
Right.
It just kind of got created when we were kids.
But I did love blowing some stuff up when I was a kid, I'll tell you that.
Here's the thing, is I think all of us would love blowing stuff up. It wasn't just a boys thing. I think we all would have loved it.
Yeah,
they could have been like,
kids
hey,
are
girls,
destructive little
let's
fucking
destroy
things.
shit, and girls would have been like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right about that. I think you're probably right.
So, ranking, I liked this a little bit better than Autopsy of Jane Doe, so 5.5.
5.5? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Jane Doe is your 5.
Yeah, and I think
this is definitely more fun to watch.
It's more fun. It's more fun, and I think the story makes. I mean, the parts that don't have to make sense make as much sense as they need to.
I mean, how did he hang up that guy that had his eyes replaced?
Exactly.
It happened in like 30 seconds, and his
why
legs
was he
were off.
still swinging?
I don't know. Also, I don't really think that would kill you.
No, it wouldn't.
You'd
Having
be
your
blinded.
eyes poked out, that doesn't kill you.
Yeah, not really.
But still, it was awesome.
Yeah. Have fun watch. I think 5.5 and 6. I think that's a pretty fair verdict for this.
So watch it if you like Child's Play or if you've never seen it.
Yeah, I think so. Now, Steve, next week on this show, we're going to be talking about Dog Soldiers.
We're going to be howling at the June.
Woo!
Thanks, Kevin Biggerdike.
Howling at the June. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'm excited to talk about this, and I think I've seen it, but I'm not sure.
I have not. I've read about it a number of times, like recommended horror movie lists. It's on there
it's
very
on
often.
a lot of those like best
It's
werewolf
Neil Marshall,
movies ever.
and we did The Descent.
It's the same guy.
Yeah, same
Ooh,
guy.
okay,
So,
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So, is it British?
Well,
Because if it is, I
mean,
think I've seen this.
okay, maybe you have then.
Because, like, I remember watching a movie in college that was a werewolf movie, and it had a military vibe, and it was British.
Okay.
But I wasn't doing a
Neil
podcast
Marshall
back then.
is
so.
British.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, I really don't know anything about it other than it's got werewolves.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I'm a werewolf.
Holy cow!
Oh, this is crazy.
John Travolta.
Can you imagine if John Travolta and Jimmy Fallon were hanging out?
Oh my god!
Oh my
dude.
gosh, this is crazy. It is. It's crazy. This is the craziest thing that's ever happened. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh!
I can't do Jimmy Fallon. I just realized.
Yeah, that's just kind of wilding out over there, I guess. But we get what you meant. We get what you meant. We're gonna try not to do our John Travolta impressions the entire episode next time, but I make no guarantees. So you guys be sure to tune in next week when we cover Dog Soldiers and talk about all kinds of other shenanigans. You guys who enjoy our show, please be sure to rate and review on iTunes. And if you want to say thanks, be sure to support us on Patreon. We have a Patreon account that is just killing it.
It really is.
You guys are the
Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely. Thanks so much to all of our donators. We got some new patrons to thank this week. Let's thank Sam Delvis.
Thanks, Sam Delvis.
Or Delves.
Delves, perhaps.
Oh, shit. What if it's Sam DeElves? Like
Sam
of the elves.
He is an elven man. Or
Sam,
girl.
what do your elven eyes see?
Sam could be a girl name.
That's true. He could be Samantha. He could be Samson. I don't know.
I've seen some androgynous elves in my time, I'll tell you that.
Whoa, androgyny. Mm-hmm. We also would like to thank Jeremy Loki or Losi.
Yeah,
I'm going to
that's
say
right.
Loki because he seems like a trickster.
Cover our bases. He's a good boy. He picks a gritar.
He does pick a gritar.
Yeah,
I've heard about
does.
that.
He's been known to pick a few.
Like to thank Josh Roundtree.
Roundtree. Do you
Round
remember?
and round.
Oh, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Given time, rat style. Do you remember Roundhouse on Snick?
Roundhouse.
Roundhouse. It's kind of a musical theater show.
No.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a fun
I'll have
show.
to go back and check that one out.
Roundtree.
Like to thank Kevin Corey. What is
Thanks,
it?
Kevin Corey.
Is it Kevin Corey or his name Corey Kevin and he mixed it up because he's a high school gym teacher?
Ooh. He's got 2/3 of a serial killer name right there. Two first names.
Shit.
He just needs the last name and he's gonna serial kill the hell out of us.
He also, both of his names are kind of like he's a heartthrob. Kevin Corey, like his last name could be a heartthrob. Maybe he's a Hemsworth.
Ooh, I
We'd like
that.
to thank Kevin Corey Hemsworth.
Handsome boy.
I would think he'd have more money.
Yeah.
He'd probably just donate like $1,000 a month.
Maybe, why not?
We'd like to thank Hindsight Horror, another horror podcast, donated
Look
money to us.
out. A rising tide raises all ships. Thank you all so
is
much.
true.
Good boys. Good
And-
people. Good people.
Good boys, good people, etc. We would like to thank Captain John T.
Captain John T.
Yeah,
Aboard
JCM Les Paul.
the SS Les Paul.
Not really sure. I hope that is his name.
Yeah, I'm
Captain
pretty sure
John
it
T.
is. Pretty
Yeah.
sure that it is. Thank you guys so much for supporting us on the Patreon and stuff. You guys are better than we deserve. Steve, where can they follow us on the social medias?
At Dead Lovely Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We
You don't
have
say.
a group on Facebook, the Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast group.
You don't say.
We also have a Discord server. If you'd like the link to that, you can email me or you can just go to the Facebook and search Discord. And boy, it'll pop right up.
Oh, you don't say.
I do say.
Well, look out. Look at that.
Also, I love you.
Oh.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you all next week for Dog Soldiers. Bye, 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 bye. I wish that Jim Ross could comment on basically every event,
Yeah.
like parades, anything.
I bet he would if you're around him. Like if you were at a family reunion and he happened to be there, he'd be like, family reunion's not going so well and not enough ribs for everybody to go around.
I need more barbecue sauce on them ribs. They're drier than a damn desert in July.
Barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
Half my face wasn't working for a while.
It's looking like Uncle James has had 5 too many beers.
5 too many beers.
He's busted open the topic of politics wide open.
Oh, damn.
The carnage in the gazebo.